on the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like, you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane. That's misleading. That's just not true.
That's Secretary of State Marco Rubio calling out NBC host and crazy-eyed reporter Kristen Welker over the ridiculous establishment media narrative that the Trump administration is aggressively deporting illegal alien toddlers. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and it looks like it's time again for the Democrats and their lackeys and legacy media to pretend that they suddenly care about children. Because recently, 3 children were removed from the United States, along with their mothers who were being detained at a Louisiana immigration facility. And naturally, pretend journalists and establishment media began immediately spinning that into short horror stories that they can attempt to use for political gain. Here's Kristen Welker employing her patented interview style of talking to the guests like they're a toddler with a learning disability, only for it to immediately blow up in her face when Rubio calmly dismantles her lies.
Okay, let's talk now about some new reporting that came in overnight. I want to just go through it for you and for our audience. 3 U.S. citizen children have been deported with their mothers. Now, this is according to the Washington Post. The family's lawyer says one of them is a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, deported without medication or ability to contact doctors. The family's lawyers are also saying their clients were denied communication with family and legal representatives before being deported, and it's raising concerns about the issue of due process, that it's being violated. So let me ask you, is everyone on U.S. soil, citizens and non-citizens, entitled to due process?
Yes, of course. But let me tell you, it looks an immigration standing, the laws are very specific. If you're in this country unlawfully, you have no right to be here and you must be removed. That's what the law says. Somehow over the last 20 years, we've completely lost this notion that somehow or completely adopted this idea that yes, we have immigration laws, but once you come into our country illegally, it triggers all kinds of rights that can keep you here indefinitely. That's why we were being flooded at the border. And we've ended that, and that's why you see a historically low number of people not just trying to cross our border, trying to cross the border into Panama, all the way down in the Darien Gap. I mean, it's been a huge help for those countries as well.
Just to be clear, because I do want to get to the overhaul at the State Department, is it the U.S. policy to deport children, even U.S. citizens, with their families, and I hear what you're saying, without due process? Just to be very clear there.
Well, No. Again, if someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well, then you have 2 choices. You can say, yes, of course you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. And then your headlines would read, U.S. holding hostage 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old while mother deported.
You know, is it just me, or do liberals seem to only care about parental rights in children when it involves non-citizens? I mean, the only time I see them act like they give 2 craps about American families is when it either involves harming and maiming kids or having parental rights trampled on by the state. You know, they'll do mental gymnastics and try to soften language by rebranding the life issue as reproductive health care and label concerned parents as bigots and domestic terrorists for daring to object to progressive brainwashing being pushed on their kids. And let's not forget how eager the left is to openly celebrate families being destroyed because parents won't affirm their liberal nonsense. Yet for some reason, all of that goes out the window for illegal aliens, and the argument suddenly becomes that a person who broke the law should get a free pass because their actions might negatively affect their children. Isn't it funny how that grace is never afforded to people they disagree with? But let me know what you think. Are liberals in the media genuinely concerned about these children, or is this yet another kids in cage argument that they'll use and discard when it stops being politically convenient? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching.